Salvetti Discipuli. This last video is the third lesson in Chapter 9 for Latin for the New Millenniums, and you're going to learn a subset of the third declension nouns called third declension I stems. Third declension I stem nouns don't follow the regular third declension pattern. They have a slightly variated. There's a variation, a slight variation from the third declension. And basically you have to know the three rules that would make a noun into an I stem, and then if it fits one of those three rules, then instead of following the third declension endings you've already learned, they're going to follow the third declension I stem endings. So, a couple things we need to do in this video. I need to explain to you the three rules so you can identify third declension I stem nouns, and then I'll tell you the endings. Really, it is a slight variation, but it's important, so you have to know it. Okay, three rules. Two of the rules pertain to masculine and feminine nouns. One of the rules pertains to a neuter noun. Okay, so a masculine or feminine noun will be an I stem if it fits one of the following two rules. The nominative and the genitive singular the nominative and the genitive singulars have the same number of syllables. Okay, so if the nominative singular and the genitive singular, or in other words, both forms in the dictionary entry, have the same number of syllables, then it's going to be an I stem. For example, the noun civis, which is masculine, it means a citizen. There are two syllables in the nominative, two syllables in the genitive, therefore same number of syllables, I stem. Same with the noun nubis, which means a cloud. Two syllables in the nominative, two syllables in the genitive, I stem. The second rule is if a masculine or feminine noun fits the following rule. The nominative ends in an S or an X, and the noun base ends in two consonants. Okay, now again, this is something you can learn from the dictionary entry. Let's look at this first example. Urbs, urbis is feminine, right? Now, the nominative form, or the first form in the dictionary entry, ends in an S, so it fits the first part of this rule. And then when we get the noun base by removing the genitive ending from the second form, its noun base, herb, ends in two consonants, R and B. Therefore, this is an I stem, okay? Same with, and urbis means a city. Arcus, a citadel. Not every noun whose nominative ends in an S or an X is going to be an I stem. For example, rex regus, a king, is not an I stem. It ends in an X in its nominative, but when you take off the IS from its genitive form, the noun base is reg. It ends in one consonant, not two, so not an I stem. Okay. The one rule that governs neuter nouns states that a neuter noun will be an I stem if its nominative ending is al, ar, or e. So, for example, mare, maris, which means the sea, ends in an e. Animal, animalis, ends in al, obviously, an animal. Exemplar, exemplaris, right, ends in an AR. So all three of these neuter nouns are going to be I stems. Okay, so that's how you can tell if a noun is an I stem at all. Once you know it's an I stem, how does that change the declension? This is a quick review of third declension endings, regular third declension endings. Masculine and feminine has a slightly different declension, slightly different endings than the neuter. And we're going to look at how that compares to the I stem on the next slide. You can see that for masculine and feminine I stem nouns, the only difference between a third declension and a third declension I stem is that the genitive singular ends in IUM instead of IM. Instead of UM. That's it. IUM instead of UM. Okay? For neuter I stems, there are a few more differences. First and foremost, if you have a neuter I stem, the ablative singular ending changes to a long I from an E. Also, every form in the plural will begin with an I. So instead of A, it's IA. Instead of IUM, excuse me, instead of UM, it's IUM, and instead of IA, it's IA, okay? So, A, IA. EUM for I stems. Again, if you look here to the neuter regular third declension endings in the ablative singular, it's an E. For I stems, it's an I. Okay, so as always, we do have some paradigms, some examples. So the first example is kiwis, right? If we remove the is from the genitive form, we get the noun base kiw, and then we add our endings. Now, again, the singular, there won't be a single difference between an I stem ending and a regular third declension ending. Kiwis, kiwi, kiwem, kiwe. In the plural, the only difference is this I, um, okay? So it's going to be kiwes, kiwium, kiwabes, kiwes, kiwabes, okay? Same for our feminine third declension noun, erps, erbus. If we remove the is from the genitive form, we get a noun base of herb, right? And the singular, there's going to be no difference between a regular third declension ending and third declension I stem ending. So it's erps, erbus, erbi, erbem, erbe. And the plural, erbase, erbium, the only difference, erbibus, erbase, erbibus. Okay? Now, this neuter I stem, mare, maris, which we know is an I stem because it's neuter and ends in an E. If we remove the is from the genitive form, our noun base is going to be mar. And in the singular, mare, maris, mari, mare, remember the neuter law, ladies. Whatever the ending or the form is in the nominative is going to be the same in the accusative. And then notice this difference with the long I in the ablative. So mare, maris, mari, mare, mari. And then in the plural, maria, right, with the I, marium, maribus, maria, maribus. All right, ladies, make sure you take notes on all of the charts, write down all of the paradigms, and we will go over them in class. Have a good evening. Walete.